Hello and welcome to the FilmBunker podcast. My name is Nick and we're here to talk about movies and TV and stuff. And today I'm joined by Simon Abu Hall, Matt Iago Lind, Karen Raja Kerr, and Kelsey Jeannie Clark. They're all Aladdin characters. We spent 10 minutes going over who was going to be who.
And we didn't have an Aladdin.
Yeah, and in the end, there was
one was Aladdin.
No humans. No,
just all the side characters.
I think that says a lot about us as people.
Humans are overrated.
And we identify as side characters at best.
Yeah, no, we're not
in our own lives.
We're not the people making the films. We're just the people making fun of the films.
Yeah, we're side characters. Says the genie in Aladdin.
I don't know how that happened. It's just a coincidence.
So why don't we go into the first piece of news, and we might as well talk about the Aladdin trailer for those who have seen it.
Yeah.
Have either of you, Simon or Matt, seen it? I'm guessing
I
not.
most definitely have not.
I've never done any research for this podcast since I've started.
It's a trailer. It's there. It shows the desert and Aladdin picking up a lamp, and that's
And a
it.
diamond in the rough. Yes. And Iago flies around.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't know what that means?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Shame on
What are you talking about?
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm a little torn between this live action reboot of all the things. Because Cinderella was okay. I kind of thought that one was all right, but I kind of just want to protest against it because I can tell they're trying to get money from me. And I'm a little bit worried about Aladdin because I really, really liked Aladdin. And I liked the genie, and I just don't think he can be done.
I think that with the Disney live action remake train that we're all going on, the CEO of Disney has made a very good thing for himself with doing all of these things, because he's now packaging what they've already made into live action stuff to make guaranteed money. So I can see how it seems like a cash grab. And with things like Beauty and the Beast, it was good. Beauty and the Beast is my favourite film. I've watched it a million times, and I didn't mind the live action remake. Everything they added, though, didn't really need to be there. And the animated thing was enough.
It's just Disney printing money, as Disney does.
That's the thing that I'm a bit split about, is because, I also did really like Beauty and the Beast. I thought it was done really well, and I thought Emma Watson was perfect as Belle, and Luke Evans, is it?
Yeah.
As Gaston was awesome. But the stuff that they added was unnecessary. But then had they just left it as it is, I feel like it would have gotten a lot of criticism too. That lots of people were like, why don't I just watch the cartoon then? It's like, well,
I feel like they added the stuff out of YouTube comments. Like, they saw questions people were doing on YouTube comments, such as, but if all of the furniture are people, then does that mean the plates are people? Like, they even had a deleted
good
scene.
question, right?
Yeah, but they had a deleted scene where the toilet was a person. Because people asked that. They were like, is the toilet a person? And they tried
He was a lawyer in his real life.
Yeah, and then they tried to answer the plot holes in inverted commas.
The IKEA question.
Yeah, the IKEA question. Like, all of the plot holes in inverted commas they tried to address with that, because it was almost as if they went back to the film they had already made with all of this modern criticism put towards it, and all of the Disney fans who, just trying to have a bit of a laugh, were giving these plot holes to it and saying, but this doesn't make sense, and that doesn't make sense. Yeah. And I feel like they're retroactively now going back and trying to put the fans' inputs into these films, and I feel like they're gonna do the same thing with Aladdin. If they're gonna do the same thing with The Lion King, it's gonna get stale quite quickly.
I mean, it's just the same thing repackaged. It's already stale. It's the same movies, just with real people.
Yeah.
Even with those little added things, there's very little difference.
I just can't wait for the live action Finding Nemo.
Just filming like a fish tank.
Yeah. But it's like the live action Lion King. It's not live action. It's a CGI Lion King.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not getting real lions.
Like, you can't have a parrot and a monkey
Notoriously
and
hard to work
do that
with.
live action. So
Isn't Gambino going to be Simba though? Because I'm down for that.
He's Simba. Look, the one that I'm actually interested in, oddly enough, is Dumbo, because Tim Burton's directing it. And
they're going to have to change some things with that one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The crows, right?
Yeah.
I thought about the elephant.
It looks different. It looks very different. Stylistically, it looks interesting, and it looks like. And the thing with Dumbo is, you probably will get more from watching this live action remake than you would the original because of all of the subtext in the original, and because it is so old. It's good to have a refresh. It's not 20 years old. It's much longer than that. So I feel like if they go back to those old Disney films and put a new spin towards them or do something different, it will be better.
Well, I mean, they did that with Cinderella. It's one of the oldest ones, and it is the same. But the thing with Cinderella's been done so many different times by so many different things. It's of course it was going to be the same.
Part of culture now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's so well known. Whereas Dumbo, but I mean, it's well known, but like you said, it's so old you can come to it with something fresh and give it something new.
Yeah.
Whereas Aladdin's going to be interesting. I don't know.
I'm
The guy who
worried.
plays Aladdin looks. I just didn't like how his hair was all slicked back. Like,
Who is it?
what's his name?
Yeah, like the
I'm gonna look
perfect
it up.
hair. I
Yeah.
guess again,
Is the
like
Sorry, you
oh
go.
no,
I was just gonna say, is the full cast released yet?
I think so.
Yes.
I'll look it up now. Yeah.
Will Smith's
not the right one.
Genie.
ooh,
I don't know
But he has to.
It's interesting. I just wondering how he's going to get around the fact that he's not Robin Williams.
That's the big
which is-
problem. And also the choice of Will Smith is interesting because Will Smith's kind of fallen out, not out of grace really, but he's fallen out of the complete likability everyone had for him
Yeah.
years
The
ago.
Men in Black 1 days.
Yeah, he's now just Will Smith, and he's been in some bad movies, and people can understand that. So.
Robin Williams was in trash too.
Yeah, but I think Robin Williams was so likable.
And the thing is with him, like, they asked him to be Genie, and I think he said no initially. And then they put Genie's animation over a stand-up act he did, and he signed up straight away.
Yeah,
He was
I
like,
think
this is,
I
this
think he
is-
would be good because he's got that
Charisma.
charisma, and he's got that fast talking, double talking kind of thing that he plays in every Will Smith movie because it's just Will Smith. So he'll just be Will Smith as the genie, and
Which
It'll work,
should
maybe.
be fine.
it won't have manic energy like Robin Williams' performance, but they don't. No one should do that.
No,
yeah,
no one
can
yeah.
imitate him or anything. Yeah.
Exactly. So the guy's playing Aladdin, his name is Mena Masad.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's been in much. I'm just gonna double check. He's in that new Jack Ryan show that Amazon Prime's doing. Looks like he's done some voiceovers for video games, and other than that, not much really.
Okay.
Yeah,
They'll make a star.
TV stuff really. Yeah, pretty much.
It's interesting because they really pushed the casting with this one as well to make sure that they were
The right ethnicity.
right ethnicity, and they're doing the same with Mulan. They're gonna cast only Chinese actors, but they're changing Mulan a
Scarlett
lot.
Johansson.
Whitewashing.
They're changing Mulan a lot, though.
No.
Mulan's not. This is the problem
That's
with.
my favorite Disney movie.
Yeah, you're not going to be very happy with this news, but they've making it so that it's not a musical, and they've got rid of Li Shang. So they're going to.
That is the two things
I know.
besides Mushu that I love.
Yeah.
Is it
about that
more
movie.
authentic to the original Mulan story? Because I know that it's a
She's an
story.
actual person, yeah.
Really? They're doing it because in China, musicals don't do well. That's literally it. They're doing it. They're
Make a
making it
man
more
out
of
of
a.
More marketable for China in the end.
Yeah, they're making it more marketable for China.
Stephen Chow.
Disney's had a lot of kind of things with China where, like, Iron Man 3 was partially filmed in China, so that's why it did well there. So they really are trying really, really hard to push to China. And I'd hate to say it, that is kind of partly why Rose is in Star Wars. To push to that
That's
Asian
fine.
market. To push to that
demographic.
demographic because they didn't really grow up with Star Wars. Sorry, this is a big tangent, but they didn't get Star Wars in mainland China because of the government at the time. So they never grew up with it. Everyone else grew up with it. That's why it still continues to do so well. So that's why it doesn't do that well in China. Why the prequels didn't do that well, because they actually were the first ones that came out there properly.
That's
So
why the prequels
Yeah.
didn't go well.
so that is
Always wondered.
that is why Star Wars doesn't do so well in China. So Disney is trying really hard to crack China, like
Oh,
really,
Disney-
really
If
hard.
you can get that Chinese money, like that's. There's a lot of people in China, or so I've been told.
Well, Doctor Strange, that was the prime example. Doctor Strange, the reason that the old one was cast as Celtic and not Tibetan, and people were really upset about the whitewashing of it. But it wasn't whitewashing because they were like, no, we can't have a person of color in the role or whatever. It was making
they
it that
didn't
way
offend China.
because they didn't want to offend China, because China has those
Problems with Tibet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Disney and China are an interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dynamic going on there. But yeah, going back to Aladdin, it's just a teaser trailer. Nothing much happens.
No.
Really. You just kind of see Aladdin and the lamp and
then the cave
desert.
shuts down on someone.
Really, it's the music that gets people hyped.
Yeah, because that's the opening
Just hearing
song.
Arabian Nights and going, oh, it's Aladdin
Oh, I
again.
was thinking it was Bad Boys, Martin Lawrence.
Yeah. No, it's just
Also a great song.
remember Aladdin. I remember. That's what it is.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If they don't do like a Genie Fresh Prince of Bel-Air rendition, they're missing a huge opportunity.
I agree.
100%.
Nostalgia layer cake.
What?
What were those words that you just said, Karen?
Because of the Fresh Prince thing.
I think
It's
I
like
heard
a layer
nostalgia,
cake.
but I missed the rest.
I thought you were having a minor stroke.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to get some
That may still
YouTube
be
views.
what's happening.
Woman has minor stroke on podcast.
Hashtag, oh no.
Also Aladdin with small letters underneath.
What actually happened was I was pointed at by Nick and I didn't have anything to
Yeah.
say, so I strung something
Nostalgia layer
together.
cake.
Well, that's what Disney's got. They found this really magic tightrope for nostalgia, where it's taking at least things that you recognize that you love, and if some people are resistant to it and don't like it and whatever, and that's cool. Some people love it, and it's sort of this, and they all do well. They all do very successful. Disney makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I like
Yeah.
this. I like the new Star Wars movies.
Yes, I do too.
The Last Jedi sucked, sorry.
I love The Last Jedi. You can choke.
Although I have not seen any of the intermediate Star Wars story films.
I have
Rogue One's fun. Oh, sorry, Rogue One is good. A lot of people
I
don't like it.
Rogue
I
One a
really
lot.
like.
I
Rogue
like Rogue One more than any of the other new ones.
It-
To be
yeah,
honest. It's
I-
the best
yeah.
Star Wars film since the originals in my mind.
There you go.
Yeah, I can pretty much agree with that. I mean, Solo I thought was just fun.
Yeah,
Sure.
so it's innocent enough.
Yeah, but going on to some more news, Ryan Coogler is writing and directing the Black Panther sequel. So he directed the
Yes.
first one, did he
Yes.
not?
Yes,
he
Yeah.
did.
So that's in safe hands.
Quite a young man to be directing and writing.
He's doing Creed 2 in the meantime too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which looks amazing.
So he'll be where Michael B. Jordan will be.
Yeah, he's in that too.
Creed
Yeah,
2, yeah.
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 Nice.
What's
relationship.
also interesting
They're
is
best friends actually.
are they?
I feel like Black Panther 2 will be the first Ryan Coogler film without Michael B. Jordan in it. Legitimately.
Unless
And
they find a way.
Yay.
I mean, they actually might because there's like a plane with dead people.
Well,
in it,
yeah,
so-
he's definitely going to appear in it in some way.
Yeah. No, there's also a good bit, an interesting piece of news is that James Gunn is attached to Suicide Squad 2.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Which is
it's only
just such...
it's still reportedly. It's
Yeah.
not like 100% set in stone. I think the Entertainment Weekly or something put it out saying that he might be writing it and possibly directing.
I'm so scared for him.
I think he could probably fix some of the problems.
Sure. I feel like something went wrong in this timeline, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Now Marvel's less good than it would have been. Now DC's better than it would have been, and I kind
But
of
it
just wanted
averages
DC,
out.
I kind of wanted DC to just die and
Yeah.
stop doing what
Yeah,
it's doing.
just stop, honey.
And
Like,
so-
you're hurting everyone.
Getting a talented person and putting them in charge of Suicide Squad kind of gives like a spark of hope that it might become good.
Yeah, but
which
you know
is
what?
Terrible.
You know what? Justice League wasn't really saved by Joss Whedon, so who knows?
And I just like the irony of a film called Suicide Squad 2.
Being
You didn't get it right the first time.
You can't even die, right?
My message to Zack Snyder. Sorry, Zack. Oh, mate.
Another piece of news: has anyone seen the trailer for the new trailer for
I
Glass?
have. I've seen that.
What did you think?
I think it looks interesting. I think some of the effects look terrible. But I'm
but
kind of in
they looked
for it. Yeah,
they looked terrible in the other films anyway.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I have not seen Unbreakable. I haven't seen Split.
Oh, you haven't?
But
you've
I
got
watched
to.
that, and I absolutely want to watch everything now.
Yes.
I'm
Unbreakable's
into it.
Unbreakable's like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, Unbreakable's really Split's really good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Glass looks really interesting. I like how they've kind of just gone, all right, now we're going to have that focus on sorry, I forgot Samuel Jackson's character's name. And
Mr. Glass.
No, he has an actual name, but I can't remember what it is. Because his mum kind of sort of narrates not really narrates, but kind of monologues over the trailer, where she's saying how much of a genius he is and you can't keep him there and all that. And he's going to, it looks like he's going to team up with James McAvoy's character and try and fuck shit up.
Happens, yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Doom and gloom.
Effectively. He wants to announce to the world that they exist. the thing is, he doesn't have any superpowers though. He wants to announce that the other two guys have superpowers.
Yeah, it's just screw
He does
them.
a Lex Luthor
And Split's
trying
just
to
all for it.
expose Superman.
Yeah.
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 Is
pretty
it
much.
still with M. Night?
Yeah.
It's the Shyamalan universe.
The Shyamalan universe.
Yes. It's interesting with this because M. Night Shyamalan was such a cringe fest for so long. Like, as soon as his name was spoken, people just cringed and went, oh no. And then,
I'm doing it now.
yeah, he just did this one film that was alright, it was pretty good. I like Split. And then suddenly people are like, yay, go you got an A. And like, it just seems,
Well, didn't it kind of... It was like almost a bell curve, wasn't it? Because it was kind of... He did really well with like Signs.
Sixth
and-
Sense.
Sixth Sense, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he did
Unbreakable.
really well there.
Signs
And
is
then everyone...
iffy.
Yeah.
Some
Then
people
everyone
love it.
caught
Some
on.
people think it's really stupid that aliens would come to a planet that's 70% water if they're allergic to water.
Yeah, and then didn't everyone kind of catch on and was like, oh, okay, he has one trick. And
And
then
then you
he
watch
was
The
kind of...
Village and you're like, they're in present time. And I'm spoiling it, but don't watch them. They're not worth it.
no, watch The Happening though, because The Happening is glorious.
Isn't it the worst thing that's ever
I
come to
love The
cinema?
Happening. I love it so much. The trees did it, guys, and it is phenomenal. I love it so much.
I judge you so much.
I love The
Oh, no,
Happening.
because it's shit. No,
It
she
is
loves
so-
it because it's shit.
Yeah, I will watch that, and it's the best comedy
Oh, and he
ever.
also did
It's
The
great.
Last Airbender. Don't forget
Oh,
about that.
let's
Yeah, but
never
that's
forget.
just shit though.
Never forgive.
So why don't we now move on to some like actual films and stuff?
Well, before we do,
Oh, yeah?
I just remember this great video I saw once, and there was this film that M. Night Shyamalan directed, and I've forgotten what it was called. It was about a haunted lift, and they're stuck in this elevator.
I remember that fucking film.
They're all like, "Oh, who's gonna kill us? Is there a demon in the lift?" And everyone's like, because it's got this really tense music, and all the actors are like,
There's a whole
freaking
thing in
out.
the lift.
And I don't know.
Mostly.
But it goes, and everyone's like, ooh. It's like, from director M. Night Shyamalan. Everyone's like, oh.
I mean, that was like, I think called Devil or something
Devil,
like that.
I think that was
yeah.
the name on the top of my lips, but it was something trash.
Going on to something that wasn't trash. Do we want to talk about Bad Times at the El Royale?
Yes.
Please do. I'm
you seen
so excited
Yes.
to hear about it.
Bad Times at the El Royale was really, really, really good. It's got mixed reviews, which is interesting because I thought it would. Yeah, I thought it'd be a little critical darling.
Oh yes, that's
but
right.
it's
Some
not.
people thought it was fake Tarantino, basically.
Yeah, they thought it was discount Tarantino,
Yeah.
and it is in a sense, but it's done well. It follows 7 strangers converging on this hotel, which is all in the 60s, and there's all these 60s themes to it, and there's some good music to it, and it's hyper stylized. Directed by Drew Goddard, who has directed Cabin in the Woods as well, and I loved every minute of it. The shots were executed so well. There were so many cool things in it. I spent the entire time just kind of grooving to the film, just like, this is just so cool. The performances were great. John Hamm, Jeff Bridges, just likable people anyway. So if they're in anything, they're going to make it better. Same with Chris Hemsworth. He actually knocked it out of the park. He was
Good. I'm
really
glad.
good. So yeah, it was one that I'll highly
Dakota
recommend.
Johnson was fine.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson was
Ugh,
also.
I don't like her.
She was fine though.
She 50 Shades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but in this, she kind of has to play that sort of character where she's just very stoic and like has a bad background as a character, like bad. Yeah, so it kind of works.
Thought you were going to
really.
say bad back. I was like, yeah.
No, it was really interesting as well to see the critical response of it because there's a lot of people who, like me, thought that it was really great and enjoyed it and said that it was, worth a watch. But there were other people who were saying that it wasn't original, it was just Tarantino light, that its influences kind of were too important to it, things like that. And that wasn't a problem for me because I also like those films.
Yeah.
If you like Tarantino, getting more Tarantino isn't a problem, really.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a direct rip-off or anything. It's
No,
just...
it's just very similar to his style. A lot of it's told in flashbacks, so the characters kind of get all their character development from flashbacks.
I mean,
But the flashbacks are done well.
Yeah.
My only real issue with it, I thought it was a little bit long. It was 2.5 hours. towards the end, I thought it started to drag a little bit. I really enjoyed it, but I just thought it was, for me, it was just dragging a little long.
Especially if it's that sort of paced film. Like, those sorts of themes.
I mean, it has a lot of, like really good kind of twists and turns and really good character development. Everything's great about it. Just towards the end, I was like, are you going to finish now? Yeah.
I mean, I can understand that critical response. I haven't seen the film, but a lot of films that do sort of have that style to them are Vegemite. People either love them or hate them sometimes. And if you've seen all these films, and because just the way you describe it, it doesn't sound that original. And when you've seen so many films as a critic or a punter or whatever, you can kind of give me something new. So I can understand how some people might reject it on a sort of superficial
Because
level.
it doesn't, you're right, it doesn't bring anything super new. It just brings kind of things that have been done before very well, which is fine. It's a good movie, and it doesn't suffer from not bringing anything really new. I can't think of much new in it, other than Chris Hemsworth's character. Once he comes in, that's something a little bit different.
And I find that as well, the kind of newness and the freshness of it comes from the aesthetics of it. So if you are someone who enjoys aesthetics in film, you will enjoy this, because there's some great shots, some great angles, some interesting ways in which he moves the camera, and we'll shoot one thing from two separate angles, and you can see, and it's just done really well. And this set design and the mise-en-scène of it and all of that is done really well. So that's the one thing that flashes into my mind, is just how it looks. I'm not really thinking about the characters or the story or the plot. What stuck with me was how it was shot, the cinematography, and how it is. And I think that is what it kind of does bring fresh-ish, is just what it looks like.
Yeah, it's just a bit, it is probably a little bit more cinematically shot than how Tarantino shoots a lot of his stuff. Maybe beside, Django Unchained, because that's very cinematic in pieces. Whereas, I'm talking more about, Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs. It's very staticky, kind of interesting shots, but very straightforward. Whereas this had more kind of different things.
It was just more stylized, I think.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. I love John Hamm. There wasn't enough John Hamm. That was my major criticism.
I can understand that.
I'd give it 7 creepy rooms in a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my rating.
Oh, also quickly, the guy who played the attendant, who if you watch the trailer, looks a lot like Tom Holland, but actually isn't.
Cool.
Because I thought it was Tom Holland when I saw the trailer. He was great.
Yeah.
His backstory comes towards the end, and it's very good.
Yeah.
So in relation to genre and storyline, because you're not really talking about that much, and I assume that there's a reason for that.
If we go into it, we'll just ruin it for all three.
Is it like a, what would you say it is? Is it one of those?
A neo-noir
Okay.
cross with a character thriller.
Okay.
It's one of those films where there are strangers. It's kind of Hitchcockian in that sense. It's very much like there is a mystery to each of these people. Things happen. They need to kind of work themselves out, work out who each other are. It's that kind of thriller, and it's all very neo-noir set. So it's one of those where secrets are unraveled, the stakes get higher and higher and higher, and it's just about unraveling the mystery. That's really it.
Most of them, the mysteries are interesting, and they come unraveled pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Really. There isn't too much predictable either. There was one thing that I found pretty predictable that Karen didn't, but I don't know. That's probably just something I noticed quickly.
Yeah, I would say that it is one of the edge of your seat thrillers that thrill rides that is trying to be like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and I was wondering what's going to happen next. There was a lot of surprise in it. There was a lot of, especially again, it's the way he shot it, that there was things that you may have expected to happen eventually would happen suddenly, and it was a good shock, and it kept you engaged and entertained the whole time. It wasn't, the plot was quite good, but you can't go too into it, because the whole joy of it is not knowing what's going to happen or who anyone is.
Yeah, because I did notice that even in the promotion for it, we only got very little shown, and it was kind of, they were aiming for curiosity sort of thing, that you're wanting to know more.
Yeah, they did a decent job. I mean, they did give away tiny things, but nothing that's really ruins it.
Yeah. Cool.
So, why don't we go on to the next big thing of the week, which is A Star Is Born, and Kelsey's seen that, and I don't think any of the rest of us have.
No.
No clue what you're talking about.
So this will be a fun conversation.
I'll just let us know what it's about. I know it's a remake and whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, so A Star Is Born, it was there was an original version of it made a little while ago, so it is technically a remake. Bradley Cooper directs and acts, and Lady Gaga is the lead actress as well. Basically, it just follows a storyline of a artist who's kind of on his way out, I guess. Like, he's sort of becoming not relevant, or he's just sort of getting over the whole business, and then of Lady Gaga's character, who is just coming into the business. So she's sort of this really star-eyed girl who just wants to sing and really loves it, and then they just sort of share that love of singing and a romance and stuff like that, and it just sort of follows, I guess, the reality of the business, so singing and what it can do to not only a person but a relationship. And I guess just it's mainly I would say a character development type of film. So overall, I was really, really surprised how much I liked it. Because I don't really like Lady Gaga or anything like that, because I know so many of my friends who like her were just looking forward to the film to hear her work and to see her.
I heard she was actually really good in it.
She was exceptional. I was so thrown, because I know she was in American Horror Story,
Yeah.
but I never saw her in that.
She
So I
was
don't know
really good in it.
She was good?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people were saying, oh, this is her first role and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, well, there was that one. And she was incredible. Like, I definitely think she should get a nomination for Best Actress. She was almost unrecognizable. And again, I don't follow Gaga, but just the removal of the makeup, and she just had mousy brown hair. She was unrecognizable as Gaga to start with. And then her character was so unlike her as well that it was just very convincing. At no point was I stuck like I am with some actors and actresses going, oh, this is just Angelina Jolie playing someone new, or this is Brad Pitt. Like, I completely forgot that's who she was. And the same can be said with Bradley Cooper as well. I was astounded by his performance. Again, definitely he should be getting a nomination for actor as well, Best Actor. Same thing. Like, he was unrecognizable. His character had so much depth, and it was such a good representation of what the industry can do to someone. Like, he had a lot of issues and he had a lot of vices, but at no point did you hate him or think that it was a cliche either, of like the typical rock star who just parties too hard or whatever. Like, in every scene, you instantly liked him. You just didn't know which version of him you were going to get. And, so whether or not he was sort of coming back, and then you just like Gaga's character, Ali, started to realize that, oh, he's drunk right now. And it was really well done. Like, I liked that sort of thing, that not only was it not a cliche, but that you never disliked him.
Sounds like it was really believable as well.
Really, really believable. I was blown away. And the songs were incredible as well.
How was Bradley Cooper's singing voice? I don't think I've heard him sing in anything.
Yeah, he's actually really good. Apparently he put a lot of extra working time into it.
I think he wrote some of the songs or the musical.
Yeah, he wrote some. He had a coach for ages as well. He was great. Most of the time I feel like it was Gaga, when she was singing, that's the ones that got you in the feels, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, the things that she can do. Again, I'm more of a fan of her now than ever before, that she just hits these notes and you actually like want to cry like straight away. It's just incredible what she can do. And I think I liked that it wasn't in her normal genre. Like, they start off quite country as well, because Bradley Cooper's character sings country. And
And doesn't she kind of transition into pop? And that's what part of the tension of it or something?
A little bit, yeah. So kind of along the way, so Bradley Cooper's sort of becoming less relevant, his character, Jackson, and then Ali's sort of rising to fame. So he sort of invites her on stage with him, and then that sort of spearheads her career. And you just slowly start to see industry starting to want to change her. They're like, oh, you should change your hair. And then they start getting her to add dance moves, and then all of a sudden, she's sort of singing pop. And then obviously Jackson's character, Jackson, is very disgusted by all of that, because he's like, you have an amazing voice and you're covering it all up. And there's a little bit of tension there. I wouldn't say it's like the primary tension, but yeah, like the whole story is just sort of driven through their entire relationship, I guess, and just seeing how that goes.
It's a great strategy, isn't it, by Lady Gaga?
I was just thinking that.
Act like a nutcase for
meat
10
dresses
years
and all that
then-
sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I'll play someone normal and win an Oscar. Incredible.
She's
Yeah.
playing the long game.
Yeah, she's done well.
Tone it down, yeah.
Honestly, Lady Gaga as an entity is just interesting anyway, because she's always, everything she's done has been for the industry. Like the whole meat dress that is iconic now, her music, and the fact that she has this amazing, brilliant, tear-jerking voice, but she has covered it under pop. She's just been very clever about it all.
She's been writing music for years before she became known as a performer.
Mm-hmm.
And she's never really done anything that has hurt her PR too much. Like, everything that she's done has been either just stylistic, oh, that's a bit weird,
Yeah, just outlandish
Yeah.
kind of things.
but it's nothing
Or
negative.
Tall poppy syndrome. Nothing,
Yeah.
just a victim of that.
Yeah, so it is interesting that she's stripped back for this, and she has. But, Kelsey, do you think that... Because this is, what, the 4th or 5th remake of this? There's
Yeah, I
been
think
a
it's
lot.
like fourth.
Yeah, it's a 4th. So would you say that, I know, even if you haven't seen the other ones, is it bringing something? Like, was it made to bring something fresh to the table? Is there any
Or
kind
did
of
it
modern
feel
spin
like
on
a
it? Or...
story that's been told too many times already?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I feel like the story has been told lots, but they told it in a different way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm committing either way. But it's like the story itself of a alcoholic country singer who's falling out of fame and someone who's rising to fame. That's been done a million times before. But I liked that they did it differently.
It sounds like they did it more believably is where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think so. As believable as a plot like that can be,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
clearly none of us can relate.
Oh, I can relate to everything. The music part.
But that's what I liked about it, is that you could really feel for these people, and at no point did they feel like these characters or what we expect to think celebrities are like as well, that they just were humans. You know, they had a pet dog and they talked about these things, or they fought over stupid stuff, and then I don't know, just I think I liked its execution, I guess, but I wouldn't say it's an original plot per se.
So, in the end, how many Gagas are you giving it?
Oh, well, see, that's really
Is it
cryptic because we don't know what I
Gaga
mean.
1? You know the measurement, or is it Gaga 2?
No, it's one.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Lady Gaga, so
Okay,
how
well,
many
yeah.
Gagas?
I don't know what to do with that.
Just
So
needs to be
I
just
don't really
abstract.
like Gaga, so I'm just gonna say 4 Gagas and let
So
you
it's
think
8
about
Gagas.
that. I'll let you just ponder that on your own. 'cause, yeah.
8 out of 5. Kelsey really loved that movie.
Yeah.
Simon, you went to the Brisbane International Film Festival.
Biff, yes, I did.
How was it?
It was an interesting way to start things off. So they screened a film called Celeste, made by a Brisbane-born filmmaker, Ben Hackworth.
I didn't realize he was from here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting choice to start off the festival. I didn't love the film, but I will say it was beautifully shot. Probably one of the most recognizable portrayals of like the Queensland rainforests. That was great. The story was just brought down by so many things that's just it feels like Australian film, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just bad scripting. It's just such a problem. So the film's about like a 40-something opera singer named Celeste, and she has a really interesting, like, if anyone's seen the documentary Grey Gardens,
Oh yes.
yes, she kind of has that thing going on. She's been retired for a while. She has some trauma in her background, and she's a very complicated character. But the linchpin of the film is her relationship to like her 20-something stepson, who's also got his issues with the family and stuff like that. But he's just the worst, most unlikable character. So everything kind of falls apart on that axis.
No redeemable qualities.
Legitimately no redeemable qualities. He has sex with everything he sees and then he whines about it.
In the rainforest, that can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Catch something.
So
That's a cassowary, mate.
yeah, so it felt like a film that had a lot of really interesting parts to it, but it just sort of squandered its potential. I'm not really sure what the thinking behind that character Jack was. I didn't hate the actor. I thought he did a good job with what he had. Just purely a scripting issue, I think.
Do you think it was there to sort of give her like a bit like, you know, oh, poor mum dealing with that rotten boy?
Yeah, was it to give sympathy to her, Celeste?
I think she was already like sort of a sympathetic character. I don't think she needed it. She wasn't likable either, I want to say. She wasn't meant to be likable. I think she was kind of her own thing. She was
Damaged.
Yeah, she was something that could have been reacted to by a better character, and that would have been really interesting. She was kind of a force to be reckoned with in a lot of
It
ways.
does sound very Australian.
Yeah.
Piece of shit meets another piece of shit.
Mate.
They fight it out in the rainforest.
That would have been great. I would
Crocs
have
watch.
been all for that, honestly.
Oh dear. Okay.
But they just start off in the pub like, let's take it outside. Okay? Let's go further.
Yeah, so
Let's go Daintree.
Yeah.
there was some really interesting kind of emotional moments and stuff like that, and the ending wasn't terrible, but I just feel like they were trying to trade in on like sympathy chips that I didn't have any for them because didn't like any
It's
of the
also
characters.
it's also only like a 30-minute film, right?
No,
was
it's full.
Was it a
full
feature,
length.
full
It's-
feature?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was only a short film. I didn't realize.
Would have been great if it was, if I'm being honest.
No, I didn't realize. I thought it was just a short film.
No, it's like
okay.
103 minutes or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how was? I know that there was also like a
Make
sort of
it
interview.
90. No, it's got to be 103 minutes of misery.
I know there was a small interview with the director. Was that
It
right?
was very small. There was no Q&A element. Really, all he said was that, as opposed to his first film, Corroboree, which was, I think, 2007, so a really big gap, where that was about, like, trying to get into the head of an artist. It was a very cerebral film. This was meant to be a very abstract, sort of interpretable film, and he didn't want to, like, put any of the characters in a box or anything like that. So there were aspects of the film that... I want to say it was more events that were interpretable rather than themes and subtext, which I actually don't really like, especially in a film like that where it's all about like the emotional complexity of the characters. So we see a lot of like vignettes of things that happened in the past, a lot of the cause of the trauma and the issues that the characters have with each other, but it's completely unclear about what's actually happening. We just see people yelling at each other or someone getting slapped.
Not enough context.
No cues to tell you exactly what
Yeah.
the cause of any of these issues are. So it's just kind of a guessing game. I kind of feel like you have to write the subtext of the film yourself. And it's like, I guess I get that, but it's like I'm doing the work for you.
Yeah.
Choose your own trauma. It's like a bunch of readers as like a kid. I'd never wanted.
I mean, it can work, and sometimes it doesn't. When we were interviewing Jono just before, we did that interview just before this. He was talking about that, about what the audiences can come up with in their head is usually worse than what you can put on the screen. It's sort of a similar thing, but
Yeah,
it
but
sounds
that's
like
for
that
horror,
wasn't that
not
that was
for plot.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying though. I'm just clarifying that like that's a different sort of thing to what you're talking about.
It certainly works in a lot of films. Like I'm a huge David Lynch fan, right?
Yeah.
Like I get how you can just put something out there like in an expressionist way and just let the audience take what they will from it. But when it's about emotional complexity, I think you kind of have to be clear about the events.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How many cassowaries do you give it?
I want to give it like I want to say 1 cassowary, but out of 2 cassowaries.
Okay.
So
Which one do I choose?
yeah.
Lady's choice.
In the end, me and Karen, I think, now are going to just geek out over Doctor Who.
Yep.
How's that?
Please.
You can all leave if you need to.
Please.
So, Doctor Who's first episode for season 11 premiered. It was The Woman Who Fell to Earth?
Yes.
That was the title?
That's the
yeah,
title.
so Jodie Whittaker's first appearance as the Doctor.
Not first appearance, first episode.
First
thank you.
episode, first full episode as the Doctor on the board. It was a good one. Karen loved it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. The monster was amazing.
Cool.
One of the best new monsters in a long time.
It was.
It was a
great.
direct rip-off of The Predator, but it was still really good.
Yeah.
The story wasn't really a rip-off of The Predator. It had a bit more nuance to just him killing people, but it was a hunt with like this kind of masked alien. And he was really good. The alien was great. I actually really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite parts of the episode, and Jodie was really good as well.
Yeah, what about her like characteristics? I guess like
I'll let Karen jump in that part.
Yes, it was incredible. Jodie knocked it out of the park because they've made her more of a David Tennant doctor. So she's quite soft, very almost excitable, but in a nice way. She builds her own things as well. She's very, what's the word?
So
for
the
it?
TARDIS doesn't make her Sonic.
No,
she makes her Sonic.
She makes it with a hammer and with just random. She MacGyvers it essentially.
Yeah.
And it was just a great decision to make because, and she has that warmth and that softness, but she also, they gave her a moment in the episode because the Doctor always needs to have like a raging fire at some point. They like an internal, I am the protector of this earth. You have done wrong by this. I am going to be this intimidating force. And she did also knock that out of the park. I can't wait to see more of that because it was only very subtle.
Too. Yeah, me too.
And it was quite small in comparison. The episode did kind of go through the normal regeneration episode problem where for a little bit of it was, I don't really know who I am because I got regenerated and I need to work out who I am. But it wasn't like David Tennant who literally lay down in bed the entire time. She just has a nap.
Yeah.
Which is great. She just
It was
little bit of a
really
nap.
solid for a first Doctor episode where they have to go through that.
Yeah.
But they kind of cut it right down. It was really good to not have to deal with it for the entire 40 minutes.
Yeah, and she...
Or however long it was.
She was so believable as the Doctor, and I think people who are worried about her being a woman and, well, how can she be our Doctor? She really did borrow a lot from David Tennant and that kind of style of Doctor. And even though everything in the episode was new, in the sense that they are now having 3 companions instead of the 1, they introduced all of the companions, gave 2 of them a little bit more character development than the other one, but they all are quite interesting and likable. So I'm keen to see where that goes. It's going to be like a little family, I think, which will be a cute dynamic. And they also had it set in Sheffield instead of the normal London. But it also really harkened back to when it first came back in 2005. It had a lot more of the smaller stakes, the normal companions, if that makes sense. They weren't mysteries. They weren't these grand, epic, oh, she showed up early. Yeah, it's not like Clara or even Amy, who was like, I waited for 12 years and weird time stuff. Instead, there were normal people with normal jobs. One is dealing with some sort of disability, which makes his coordination a little bit off, so it makes some tasks slightly a little bit harder, but it's nothing like...
I mean, that's just part of his character,
Yeah.
really. It's got nothing to do with...
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not his actual real problems.
Yeah.
Like, that disability thing is done really well.
Oh, that's a heart-wrenching scene at the end. I don't want to spoil it unless you guys want to watch it, but yeah, there's a heart-wrenching scene with that at the end.
Yeah, and then you've got Bradley Walsh's character, Graham, who's a step-granddad to the character who's disabled. I forget his name right now. And he's kind of trying to fit into the family, and there's that dynamic going on. Then you have a policewoman officer who wants like a bigger case and doesn't want to be on traffic all the time, so she gets called in, but she knows the other character from primary school, so there's a cute little dynamic there. So they all have an established relationship already, and then the Doctor's just kind of come in. So that's also very interesting.
So we don't have to deal with them getting to know each other or anything like that.
Yeah.
They already know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the way that they constructed those characters as normal, real people with realistic problems, and the alien wasn't the biggest, wasn't the biggest antagonist in the episode. It was more so those little moments and those character-driven issues that they have, and then the alien comes and it's like, this is propelling the plot, but we're really here for these guys. Mm-hmm. And it was really nice because it just harkened back to that whole thing of the Doctor wanting to save one life and wanting to just help the normal person and seeing the individual as special, even if they're just a normal person. And you really felt that with her. You felt like anyone is special to her. Everyone is valued. You don't need some grand mystery over who you are. You don't need to show up in his life 3 times as different people and then, oh yeah, I'm going to take you along and work you out. Instead it was, oh, I like you 3. You're my friends now.
Yeah,
and it was so nice.
They kind of accidentally come along with her at the end as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah. I give it a fully functioning TARDIS.
Which we haven't seen
marks.
yet.
No, we haven't seen the TARDIS. That's the worst part of it. They didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole
So we see the new Sonic, and it has an issue.
Yeah.
You can look at that later.
The Sonic screwdriver is a very feminine, like,
Okay.
toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has it's fine, but at the same time, it if a man was holding it, you wouldn't think that. That's the issue with it.
Yeah, that's the one problem with her being a woman. Is like, oh, what are you gonna use that for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check cavity search at the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's made of titanium.
Yeah.
What is it? Sheffield steel.
Sheffield Steel. Yes.
Yeah.
I've never really followed Doctor Who. I've got nothing against it. I've just never really jumped into it and all that sort of thing. And I've got no problem with the Doctor being played by a woman. I'm pretty sure the Doctor's an alien.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah, he very markedly
difference
is.
to make. Yeah.
And even if it wasn't, you can change a character. Like masculinity does not need to be a part of the Doctor.
The great thing about it was they didn't focus too much on that aspect.
Yeah.
At the start, it was like, you're a woman, and she's like, oh, I am? And that was it.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally it. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Don't make this massive
Yes.
deal out of it
Yeah.
for no reason. There is a slight little hint at the end when she sang a speech to an alien, and it was really good to the alien, kind of like about how the fans reacted.
Yeah.
In a way.
I think you should.
But it
be a
was
bit
very,
snarky to him. Why
but it
not?
was very subtle, and it wasn't shoehorned in, and it fit the story perfectly.
Nice.
And maybe it's just me thinking it matched. Maybe it wasn't meant to be like that. I mean, but it still really worked, and it was about kind of accepting.
Yeah.
And that was really good, and it didn't feel like the whole plot was made just for that. It was just there, and it was nice.
It does feel like they gave her just through the scripting and not giving the whole Doctor needs to discover themselves arc and getting the companions in really quickly. It sounds like they've given her a lot of, not that she needs it, but help to just sort of get it going.
Yeah.
And like if you're one of those people who's like, oh, I don't, even if you're just not involved in sort of the politics of it or whatever, you're just watching it for the first time and you're like, oh, I don't know if this isn't like the Doctor Who I knew. It sounds like it was there to sort of get people in hooked right away.
Honestly, it worked and it has shown results because this is now the most viewed first episode of a Doctor since Eccleston came back.
There'll be
So-
some incels
Yeah.
that aren't very happy. So.
Yeah, no, it's
Which I
the
like.
most viewed because, and also there are so many of my friends who loved Doctor Who and stopped because they were like, I got sick of Matt Smith, and like I stuck with it. Midway through Matt Smith, I really was close to stopping, and then Peter Capaldi came in, and I liked his later seasons, and I was trying to get people back into it because I'm like, these later seasons are amazing, they're incredible, come watch it, and then they're like, no, because I missed all this middle bit, and you know, there's
You
gonna be
don't need it,
heartbacks,
though.
but the thing is,
This one is
It's a
really
little-
clearly
yeah.
set apart.
this one is still a continuation, and people don't really want to go in and visit Capaldi because it's still a continuation of Stephen Moffat's work. Whereas this one, new showrunner, new Doctor, new companions, and it literally is just, here you go, brand new. It's as if it's rebooted back when it did in 2005.
Okay.
So,
How can you watch it? Because I'm actually quite curious to check out this episode.
ABC iView,
Okay.
it's on. Every week it will just be put on there on a Monday.
Cool.
So it's really easy to watch in Australia as well. And it's, like I said, the amount of people that have viewed it, it'll be interesting to see what its second episode stats are. Because it was 9 million tuned in England.
I also
9
haven't
million
seen
people.
anyone
That's
say anything
huge.
bad about it
That's like
as of yet.
all the Queen's corgis.
It is. And do you know what? It's actually really interesting because online people are still harping on about it because I've got...
You have? I haven't seen anyone say anything bad.
Yeah, I've got the Doctor Who official page on Facebook.
Okay.
So, like, news and their little promotional things come up. And there was one video where Bradley Walsh was stealing some, like, they had a props table with some food on it, and he like stole a packet of crisps. And there was another man who came in and he's like, "Oh, I've got a Mars bar," and they were laughing, and it was just like a cute thing of, "Oh, look, stealing from the props department, we caught ya." And then people underneath it, even though there was no woman in that video, it was just Bradley Walsh and another guy going, "Oh, but feminists have ruined Doctor Who," and you're just
I
like,
mean, if you go watch the episode, they haven't at all. It's
Like-
just a woman doctor, really. That's it.
yeah.
There wasn't any anything that could be misconstrued as like uber feminism or anything like that. It was really good.
Oh, I did read one comment. I shouldn't be looking at these comments
No,
because
you
they're
shouldn't.
anger-inducing. But one comment was, "Oh, I don't like the new Doctor. She's really spotty and doesn't know who she is yet, and she's and just like every woman ever." And it's like,
No, I saw that. That was I think that was someone trolling. But the problem with that is that's the first episode of every new Doctor.
It sounds like it was the exact opposite of what they said, which you're going to get anyway. You're going to get people that are very, even if it's like the best Doctor Who that's ever existed and it actually cures people's diseases. They're going to be like, "Oh, woman doctor."
yeah, that's it. That's
Black
the only
blonde,
criticism, though. Like, it's literally that. You've either got glowing praise, where they've gone, watched the episode, critically constructed it, and said it was great, or you've got a few people going, "But she has boobs," and then that's it. That's the criticism.
Sounds
out there.
ideal, honestly.
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah,
Good.
It was great, and you already gave it your
Yeah.
TARDIS.
One
score,
fully
didn't you?
functioning TARDIS.
Yeah.
That's not out of
rating.
5.
No,
Out of 5
there's only
TARDIS.
one.
There's only one.
How many dildo-shaped Sonics do you get?
Oh, I kept it so mystique, and you ruined it.
I bet you there actually is a dildo called a Sonic, so you gotta...
Yeah.
On
how
that
they don't get it
note,
also.
let's end it for the week. We've done 2 podcasts. We're tired, and thank you for listening. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a rating, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All my plates are people.